Sometimes I find myself smiling. Back then I thought my world was falling apart. I really thought it was the end, sitting alone outside the corner store. Just one careless thing somebody said stayed with me for days and days. The walk back home felt far too long, and tears kept blurring everything. Looking back on it now, it's kinda hard to believe. One little moment used to keep me awake all night. Sometimes I find myself smiling. I took it all so seriously then. Looking back now, they were beautiful worries after all. Sometimes I find myself smiling at the end of an ordinary day. Instead of saying I'm okay now, I just find myself smiling. The girl inside the mirror always seemed in such a hurry, forgetting how to smile while chasing after everything. Nobody ever asked that much of me, but I kept pushing myself farther. Back then I never knew I was already doing my best. I was afraid of tomorrows that never came. Sometimes I find myself smiling. I took it all so seriously then. Looking back now, they were beautiful worries after all. Sometimes I find myself smiling at the end of an ordinary day. Instead of saying I'm okay now, I just find myself smiling. One simple sentence could keep me awake for nights. One unanswered message could leave me holding my breath. Now I can laugh about it, but back then it was everything. Now I understand, it only meant I truly cared. Sometimes I find myself smiling at memories that used to make me cry. Now when I look back at that younger me, I can finally give her courage. Sometimes I find myself smiling, leaning by the window at dusk. You've really come so far, that thought crosses my mind. And sometimes I find myself smiling under the late afternoon sunlight, with a quiet cup of coffee, when I think about who I used to be.